Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today, this is a pretty cool carry build, or offlane, or mid build you can go. I'm very excited to show this because honestly, it looks damn good. So if you guys didn't know, they gave Necrophos a new Aghanim Scepter. If you don't know what it does, basically, your HP regen, which is good on Necro because you amp it with Ghost Shroud, and you get extra HP regen when you get Scythe kills, your HP regen turns into damage with Heartstopper Aura if you buy Axe. 60% is turned into Heartstopper damage. That's pretty good, right? It's pretty good. So you're gonna buy items like Heart, Kaya Sanj, and then just try to get a lot of Scythe stacks and click your W, and you're gonna shred people. We're gonna see that in today's video. We're gonna see Dahak, one of the best players in the world. I really believe this guy's incredibly good. Every time I watch him, he's putting on a performance. I think he's actually very talented, ranked 40 in EU. So basically, he goes a pretty well-rounded stat build into boots. After boots, he goes treads Winleys, amping his movement speed a little bit. From there, just straight Radiance, right? This is the 3K build, so you guys should love this build. Honestly, if a 3K built this, I'd probably question it, but not gonna lie, he made it look good. From there, he goes straight into Heart, which is kind of crazy, but I guess it sort of makes sense on this hero. He's also against Faceless Void and Shadow Demon, so going items that can be dispelled is not a good idea. So straight HP is pretty good against something like Faceless Void, Shadow Demon, where they counter you. But either way, from there, he bought his Axe, and then eventually he bought Lotus Orb, which is just for the time dilation from Faceless Void. It's also pretty good against the other heroes, the Spirit Vessel from Invoker, you know, all the spells from Lion, all the spells from Shadow Demon. It's a very, very good game for Lotus Orb. So without further ado, let's hop into it and get into this gameplay. Also, if you guys are interested in more 7.34 content and want to get a jump on the patch, over on the Gamely website, it's currently 50% off, but over on the Gamely website, I'm going to be making a ton of content, basically talking about the new builds that you can go, the new heroes you can try, and all the new strategies you can use for this new patch. So if you're interested in that, this is the time to sign up. This is currently 50% off. All you got to do is use the code SUMMER in the checkout. And yeah, hope to see you guys there. Click the link down below. And let's get back into the video. All right, so at level 1, it's nothing crazy. Honestly, I'm not gonna focus too much on the lane. Really, the key thing for Necro is getting every single deny and every single CS. Don't try to use too many Qs in the early levels. It's 100 mana, so you gotta be pretty careful about that. Like, for the most part, at level 1, you're honestly chilling. The nice thing about safe lane Necro over offlane Necro is Necro's really bad at level 1. 280 movement speed, horrible. 3 armor, horrible. 50 damage, horrible. His attack range, horrible. Death pulse, mediocre, right? Everything about this hero at level 1 is really not good. It's all about getting your levels up, especially level 2, right? That's when you're gonna start healing from denies and CS. So don't feel like you gotta dominate the opponent at level 1. People make the mistake to overplay. Just be willing to chip them down when you hit level 2 and go from there. So from there, the gameplay is very, very simple, guys. You're gonna max your Q. I do recommend taking a point in the W like he did. I think a lot of people skip it, and it's just a huge mistake. It's gonna amp the healing from Wand, Death Pulse, Lotuses, which you're gonna get if you're in the side lane, Fairy Fire, right? It's just really, really key to have a point in this ability. It makes you much, much more survivable, right? Yes, the Heartstopper scales well in damage, it does double, but I think at the end of the day, not being able to be bursted is pretty key because you actually are very gankable early game. So yeah, you need everything you can get. But from there, hopefully you've been winning your lane, and then you're gonna look to show up the fights, right? You wanna get as many Scythe kills in the early game so that you can build up your HP regen for your eventual Aghanim Scepter timing, as we see him get a Darkseer kill here. So from there, he safely farms this Radiance, just clearing all the nearby camps and focusing on using the high damage from Relic to clear waves and neutral camps quickly. Don't take a lot of fights pre-Radiance. Your hero, frankly, isn't that good. Like, yes, you can look for pickoffs, as I kind of mentioned, but make sure it's just that. Like, look for very clean pickoffs. Otherwise, farm your lane and hit nasty timings. And even from there with the Radiance, he is going to look for fights, but something I noticed about Dahak's gameplay is that he's very willing to just kind of chill, even with the Radiance. He seems to think of this as more of a farming timing rather than a fighting timing, or at least, even if he does see it as a fighting timing, maybe it's a mix, where he's only going to take the fights that are very defensively located, or where his team is like truly set up, right? Some sort of numbers advantage. After that, he buys his Shard, which is pretty cool. This Shard is incredibly good, as it allows you to gain a lot of mobility on Necrophos. You can cast a Death Pulse at any unit you want, including allies, which gives you an incredible amounts of mobility. And it's also good for farming, right? So I definitely recommend buying your Shard early like he does here as well. Alright, and we'll see in this clip here, he actually picked up Vampire Fangs, which I really like on this hero, right? The 15% lifesteal is no joke on this hero, right? Because you actually are auto-attacking. You have treads, you have a Radiance, you know, you're getting value out of that. And then of course the spell lifesteal, you're getting a ton of value out of that as well. Some other items that are good on Necro is just Vambrace for a little bit of magic resist and strength, maybe some spell amp when you're farming, and People's Gift is wonderful as well. Even the Specialist array at tier 2 is pretty good for just farming even faster. even though you already farm incredibly fast. But yeah, you're going to see the shard come into play. If you don't know what it looks like, basically click it on someone, it's target cast, and yeah, you just teleport to that location. It allows him to get a scythe kill, which realistically, this is probably a misplay here. The Q would kill the Darkseer, and he probably could have ultied something like Invoker, and that would have been definitely better, but you know, either way, getting the early kill is pretty key on this hero, and the reason why is it heals you. So I say it's a mistake, but maybe he was afraid of Darkseer healing and the kill regen, right? Because when you get a kill on Necrophos, you get 84 HP regen with maxed Heartstopper. He also buffs that with the level 10 talent, which is Heartstopper or a stack duration, so it lasts even longer. But yeah, he gets chronoed here, and it looks kind of bad, right? And realistically, maybe he dies if Void focuses him with every auto attack, but he barely lives, gets off the Lotus, and the regen starts kicking in. He's actually able to walk it off and live, and that's pretty nuts. And he was actually buying BKB, which makes sense. You're against just mostly magic damage. Even Faceless Void in the early game is mostly magic damage. And so it made sense that he was going to go BKB, but I guess because his team was dominating, he's like, yeah, I'm just going to go Heart, you know? The enemy team is behind, they're going to lack damage, let me just pick up a Heart. All right, and this upcoming team fight here kind of shows the power of hitting these ridiculous timings, especially with the lifesteal and spell lifesteal, as he just goes very, very deep here, right? Typically somewhat of a overextension, but goes for the scythe. Clearly is willing to just kind of take the early kill, which I like. It prevents people from getting spells off and gets your team off on the right foot, and of course the regen that I mentioned earlier. Gets chronoed, but yeah, he's not really gonna die. Goes for a scythe, but a good buyback from the Shadow Demon actually shuts this play down, which was quite wonderful from the Shadow Demon. I mean, it costed him a dieback, but at the end of the day, it was a good play. He marches forward here and gets pretty low. It looked a little bit suspect at first, but eventually gets his wand off, and that allows the hard healing to start compounding, and he's absolutely fine. Gets a kill, goes up to 102 HP regen, and is able to finish off the Darkseer as well. And really, at this point of the game, what your power is just your ability to stand in the middle of the enemy team and prevent them from ever gaining health, right? Heroes like Darkseer that would typically easily out-heal, right, Necrophos just from having high natural regen, Guardian Greaves regen, pipe resistance, a magic wand, Lotus, right? Typically this hero just doesn't care about Necro, but with the Radiance, with the Ags, both doing a ton of AoE damage, and now at level 20, he's also got Heartstopper regen reduction, so truly the enemy team is going to get just killed over time. He does get saved here by a nice grab ally from the Undying, but eventually his, once again, mere presence is gonna take them out. You'll notice that in this clip here, even though Darkseer is piped, just him standing next to the Darkseer with a little bit of help from the Brewmaster allows him to take out the Faceless Void, and then eventually, look at this guy, right? He's just kind of ticking down. It doesn't seem notable. This is a pipe hero with a lot of regen, but he's just kind of consistently losing health. Stand next to someone for 10 seconds, they're probably gonna lose half their health. If it's a support, even more, right? And you know, people just have to run away. So this is obviously just, it's a very powerful build in pubs where people are gonna overcommit and just not be able to burst you due to a lack of synergy. They're not gonna cast their spells at the same time. You're gonna get your heals off and likely be able to turn. And we even see that in a clip like right there, right? He doesn't get bursted. And finally, for the last fight of the game before the enemy team practically GG's out, you'll just notice how much of a barrier you are for your team. And I would just really like to point out that they are not squishy, right? They have a BKB, they have multiple BKBs in pipe, but he's just able to stand in front and not care, right? The Darkseer quickly losing health, right? Losing 1/10 of his health just from standing next to the Necro for a few seconds. These people can't go in whatsoever, right? Because if they try to walk past him, they just start dying, right? You can see the Shadow Demon's HP is just reducing. Like all of them are getting completely zoned out, and he's doing more damage than you would think because once again, they're all ticking out. They can't help out the Faceless Void. They can't connect to their teammate. Just making a complete wall for his TA to do whatever she wants in the backline and to keep them alive. And yeah, it just continues from there. The Darkseer has to pop in early Greaves. He uses the Death Seeker to get over towards the backline. That's going to tick out the Lion. I think he ticks out. Okay, maybe it doesn't tick out the Lion. But yeah, eventually he takes out the Shadow Demon, completely zones them out, pops the W to try to slow them catch up. I think he doesn't pick up any kills here. This was well played by Alliance. They actually kited that fight quite well. But yeah, all in all, picks up a Wisdom Rune. And yeah, this game's over. From there, picks up the Lotus because he just felt like he was getting kited a lot, which is reasonable. I also think maybe he could have went for something like like Hex, because he was kind of getting kited a lot, right? Maybe something like Hex would be okay. Even Kaya Sanj, I think Kaya Sanj isn't bad because Sanj is great because it amps all healing you get, right? So it's really, really good with Heart. I think honestly, anytime you buy Heart on any hero, you should be keeping Sanj in mind. It's a big upgrade to Heart to just even buy a casual Sanj, let alone Kaya Sanj. But alright, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this build that you can try out in your pubs. It looks a lot of fun and I'm definitely going to give it a shot myself. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.